Let's move now to the second option of how to use Wikidata to find misinformation. Well, Wikidata can be easily queryable using Sparkle. You can generate plenty of visualizations using the query service with a couple or tens of lines. Okay, but in order to do that, you need to feed Wikidata with data before. You need to add the bibliography of, for example, of the efforts dealing with misinformation. And here there are 5 steps that can be done with quick statements that can be used in such a purpose. First, you have to create an Excel spreadsheet for the data you need to upload to Wikidata. And then you substitute the category, if any, with the Wikidata ID. After that, you search for the entries in Wikidata because you should not create duplicates in Wikidata. If an entry exists in Wikidata, it's better to enrich it rather than create a duplicate, and then it will be difficult to identify them and to solve the problem later. And then there is another step that consists of building a model for creating the quick statement batch lines, and then run the batch on quick statements. We'll show how to do that in details. Well, what we have done with a dashboard of COVID-19, we have a table like this. You see, the table includes information about everything. So what we have done is that we have done a model like this, which is a model describing the statements that we would not like to include to Wikidata. The way this format was inspired from was derived from this instruction here. There is a help page for quick statements on Wikidata that explains in detail how to do that and how to assign label, how to write labels, how to write the statements that you need to add, etc., including location, quantity, etc., with the references, how to add references, etc. So there is a full documentation for that. And then we just apply the model this to each line for that document to have a batch like this one with plenty of statements like this. Then we copy that and paste it here. We just go to the website of quick statements, quickstatements.tollforce.org, and click new batch, and we just copy that batch that we created and paste it here, and then click on H1 import V1 comments, and then start the batch, and it will be added automatically and fluently to Wikidata, I mean. Okay, the one last thing, why if, for example, your dataset is about an initiative or a scholarly paper, how to verify if this scholarly paper exists? In fact, if you have its GOI or its ISBN of the resource you have, you can verify it using a tool which is called Hub, the Wikidata Hub. In fact, the principle is simple. You just try to paste it to paste the identifier, the external identifier of the entity, and then the tool will return the Wikidata ID of the item if it exists in Wikidata, and if it does not exist, it will return nothing. And as you see here, the format is JSON, so you can use it in your bot, etc., etc. And in a simple way, you can eliminate the application uh, of uh, of entities or creating duplicate items in Wikidata. Okay. Last but not least, why should we add a bibliography on Wikidata? Well, the reason for that is that anyone can enrich your work later, because Wikidata is open. Anyone can enrich it with their own bibliography related to, for example, to misinformation related to COVID-19 pandemic, or for example, can enrich it with references that you don't have in your bibliography, or for example, with citation data from open citations. And the sum of these information can be used to create advanced visualization of your data, to kind of create a dashboard for works related to misinformation, particularly related to COVID-19 pandemic. Well, let me show you some visualization we have here. For example, here I searched for papers related to misinformation related to COVID-19, and it gave me 75 results, as you see here. Okay, so then I searched for the collaboration network between others of the works related to misinformation, and I found this kind of collaboration network between the authors of paper linked to misinformation related to COVID-19 pandemic. You can see here the networks, the groups of authors that who are working together about the topic. And when you click, you can see further information that might not exist in your dataset. For example, the affiliation of the scientist, his or her gender, etc., etc. This is a visualization about the journals that published, or the repositories that published papers about misinformation related to COVID-19 pandemic. And you see here the journals are well represented. You see here the Journal of Medical Internet Research, the BMG, the British Medical Journal, PLOS ONE, represented, etc., etc. And all these visualizations are updated as soon as the papers are increasing in Wikidata. The coverage of papers related to misinformation about COVID-19 pandemic are increasing. Okay. The next visualization I have here is the list of topics that are co-occurring with misinformation related to COVID-19 pandemic. You see here COVID-19 pandemic, etc., etc. So you can easily extract it. And last and not least, I searched for the topics of interest for the authors of these papers before the COVID-19 pandemic in 2019 and before. And I found that the authors have dealt with mental health, with teenagers, with scholarly publishing, with social media, with decision making, with psychiatry in general, with global health, maternal health, etc., and even about fake news, etc., and even about some previous pandemics. For example, the Ebola, and there is later the Zika pandemic, the HIV as well. So it generates a lot of data that did not exist in the original data set. Okay, so this is all what I have here. So we come here to